Hello and welcome to the first ever weekly Dinosaw, although this is week 14, ignore that. So this is essentially especially for Yammer, so these are a cut down of the normally monthly Dinosaurs in nice little 7-day snippets. So if you would like these, you're probably watching this on Yammer anyway, but if you're not, head over to Yammer, find the Skylabs channel, sign up, and we'll make sure there's one of these every week. If you're new to the Dinosaurs, this is essentially 7 interesting things that I've seen in the past weeks, all condensed into 7 little slides. So curious, interesting, innovative things. So let's crack on. So the first one is hacking Google Maps, and this is an artist called Simon Workert, who works out of Berlin. He's a performance artist, and he's essentially playing with Google traffic. So if you don't know how Google traffic works, it essentially infers the traffic speed based on the mobile phones of people sat in cars. So if there are 30 people on this street and each one of them is doing 3 miles an hour, then it infers there is a 3-mile-an-hour traffic jam going on. Simon went to the internet, bought 99 used smartphones, signed them all up to Google, and basically moseyed on down the street with his little cart, creating his own little one-man traffic jam. So, you know, great piece of performance art, and as you can see on the bottom on the map, you can see it going red on the map, as Google is inferring there is a traffic jam going on this road. So, you know, all a bit of fun, but then you realise that if you're using Google Maps to route you through this city, then you will be actively told to avoid this road because there is a traffic jam. So although it seems like an interesting folly really, it's actually causing real world change. And also, you know, Google have spent billions and billions of dollars on Google Map, and then all it takes is one crazy artist to buy some mobile phones and a wheelie cart to actually undermine and sort of basically kind of show the gaps in between your thinking really on your tech platform. Second one is environmental packaging, or at least this is Quorn, who now put the environmental impact of the product on their packaging. So before you could choose a product based on its sugar and its salt and its fat, etc. Now you actually have a consumer choice on whether you want to choose its CO2 equivalent. So for instance, mince is twice as good as sausages, it seems, the Quorn ones anyway. So you now have a consumer choice. And slightly nerdier, you've got NVIDIA, or at least somebody who's put a GitHub piece of code where you can actually get your NVIDIA video card in your computer to report how much sea ice is being lost as you use your video card. So video cards and a lot of other things have quite a lot of power consumption. So it's interesting how lots of different people are equating your usage to different parts of the environment. So we'll see more of that coming up. Again, talking about coming up, there'll be lots more of these. COVID, although horrendous, is also causing some people to think differently and be more innovative. So this is lift buttons. This is a user interface issue. So the one on the right you might have seen if you've been to a hospital, or maybe if you've been in the goods in lift in a hotel, something like that. You might have seen these foot buttons, which seemingly are a good thing, but if you're in a wheelchair, they're useless to you. So the one on the left-hand side I thought was arguably better, in that it uses a couple of sticks, looks like an old chair or something like that, and it uses a couple of stickers. So if you are in a wheelchair, you can use your elbows, you can touch it, you can do whatever you want, but you know, it's interesting how people are innovating around done deals. You know, lift buttons are done deals until 3 or 4 weeks ago. Then all of a sudden people are innovating around them. Lift buttons. Secondly, or third slide, we've got upscaling. So upscaling is something I'm seeing a lot more of. What upscaling is taking a piece of either low quality or low resolution footage and then making it higher quality using essentially machine learning or something to fill in the gaps. So this is quite an important piece of footage for 2 reasons. One is it was the first ever piece of footage that, you know, Fable told that people ran out of the cinema when they saw this because they thought the train was going to hit them. However, this is one of the first pieces that's been automatically run through a series of 3 processes to come up with this. So no human was really retouching any of this. Piece of footage went in, it upscaled it to 4K, and therefore all the fuzzy pixels that would normally be stretched, it actually re-put those in, so it has nice high quality footage. It also made it 60 frames a second, so in between each frame it then put more frames in there and worked out what they should be, and then it recolored it automatically. So none of this has been retouched by hand, so it knew what a tree was and it automatically colored it in that sort of light olive color, for instance. So I thought the really interesting thing with this one is by doing this, seems like a bit of a technical folly really, but again, but it actually has a real world implication. All of these people here all of a sudden seem more human. So how much more footage that we probably passed by because these people are walking really quickly in the past, and all of a sudden they now have a more sort of human side to them. So I thought it was really interesting how a very simple techno thing can actually have you have more of a relationship with the footage itself. Again, on generating footage, so this is a Travis Scott track, only it isn't. So this is a Travis Scott track that has had 2 weeks worth of Travis Scott lyrics, who's a rapper by the way, fed into an algorithm. The algorithm has then made up lyrics, has made up the track, and has also made up the voice as well. So if you listen to this track, which is called Jack Pop, Canny Dope Man, that's my best rap DJ voice. If you listen to it, it's passable. It's not that bad. Some of the lyrics are a little bit cranky, but definitely have a listen to it. The interesting thing is who owns this. So that's the big debate that's raging on. Is like, does Travis Scott have any right to claim this? If somebody did this to you, what would happen? So if somebody really loved the presentation style that you've got, and then they just put all of your previous presentations into this process, you know, would that make you redundant eventually? So it's quite interesting. Where is there just enough of something and then generate it infinitely after that? Interesting. This is big, so this is the first time Visa membership has been given to a cryptocurrency exchange. So this was Coinbase, so it's the sort of beginner cryptocurrency exchange. Many people bought their first Bitcoin or Ethereum out of Coinbase a couple of years ago. So they have been given a Visa card status. So you can have a direct debit from Coinbase, you can go into a shop, buy your coffee for £3, tap your little card on, whatever, and it comes straight out of your cryptocurrency account. Should you buy a coffee with cryptocurrency? Maybe not, because 1 week it will probably be worth £3, the next it might actually be worth £2.80. So there's some things to be done there. However, it's quite interesting. This has happened to a second company as well recently called Binance. So Visa seemed to now be starting to make those links between cryptocurrency and fiat, as it's called, sort of normal currency. So watch this space. This is really going to push cryptocurrency back into the real world. And then finally, a really interesting research article about emotions, or at least the clumsiness of the names of emotions we currently use and the categorization of emotions. So, you know, anger, sadness, depression, happiness, whatever. So these are sort of relatively crude buckets of emotion, and the research paper argues that actually there are many, many more shades of emotion in between each one of these. If you can name them, then they exist. So, you know, as an example, what is the emotion for the slight sort of self-loathing when you've tried the USB key 3 times and it turns out it was right the first time? It's like, if you could come up with a name for that, then it exists. So the interesting thing is as a brand, could you have your own emotion for your own product? If you are coming up with a product, what should you essentially brief in as the emotion you want to happen? And also, just even when we're referring to emotions, you know, if somebody is happy or sad, you know, we have these kind of clumsy things like hangry. They're happy and angry, or but they're hungry and angry. We're already starting to use them, and people start to use them because they're useful. So this is really freeing, that if you think of the emotion that you want and name it, then it should exist. So have fun with that, basically. And that's it for this weekly edition. So if you like this, head over to Yammer and sign up if you haven't already, and we'll try and get one of these out every week. So I will see you next week.